Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please help me welcome to the stage the president of the technology sector, NPD, Mr. Ian Hamilton.
Hey! Welcome! Happy New Year! How's everybody doing? Welcome to 2019. Welcome to NPD's CES kickoff event. Listen, you guys in the back, I need 15 minutes of your time. 15 minutes. Trust me, I got a clock over here. They got me on the clock. I'm going to take 15 minutes of your time, and in return, I'm going to give you back what happened in 2018, what just happened in 2018 holiday, and we're also going to unveil our 2019 forecast. We're going to bring up our analysts, and we're going to walk you through all of it. So 15 minutes of your time, we'll drop all of that information for you. But first, let's talk about 2018. Over 200 new brands came into our retail tracking service in North America. 200 entrepreneurial brands came into our business and came into our retail tracking service in North America in 2018. But the big kids weren't left out of the party either. Our top 20 brands in the retail tracking service grew over $4 billion over 2017. So the big brands also had a lot of success. But what about 2019? Who here thinks that 2019 might be a bit of a roller coaster? Thank you. I'd agree with you. But we also have reason to be very optimistic. Maybe not never, but rarely have we ever entered a year with as much uncertainty as we do going into 2019. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and unveil our forecast. Keep in mind that NPD's foundational data sources are threefold. Number one, point-of-sale data, retailer-provided point-of-sale data. Number two, over 50-year history in primary research and consumer behavior, intent, things of that nature. Over 12 million surveys a year. And finally, our checkout tracking service, receipt harvesting, millions of receipts, longitudinal data, e-commerce performance, market basket, an incredibly rich data set. You put all those three things together, and we believe we have unmatched data for the industry, for the technology industry. But we also put that with our analysts to provide you with unmatched insights. And finally, we have an analytics team all over this room right here tonight, here to provide you with analytics specific for your business to help you grow over your competition, to help you outperform the market, prescriptive analytics. At the end of tonight, we're going to talk about a quiz. So pay attention while our analysts are talking. They're going to talk about a number of numbers, our forecast, what happened in 2018, and I'm going to come back and ask you one question. One question, and the first person to answer the question correctly, we'll have people in the audience with microphones, gets a $500 TPC gift card for TPC golf courses and golf shops around the country. Keep in mind that NPD has 21 industries that we cover. I run our tech business, but the folks that run our automotive business, our entertainment business, our toys business, and a number of other businesses at NPD and in the industry can help you connect the dots across all these different industries that are affecting you today. All right, so without further ado, I'd like to bring up a man that many of you know from his time in your offices, a nearly 20-year vet of the technology industry, my friend, my office mate in San Diego, the president of the consumer technology practice at NPD, Mr. Brad Van Dillen. Hey, Ian. Welcome. How you doing?
Hello, everybody.
Brad, listen, we just got out of 2018. What happened?
Yeah, so last year on this stage, Ian, you and Steve and others predicted that we'd get back to good growth in the consumer electronics industry. I'm happy to report that not only did we get some good growth out of the consumer electronics industry, we actually nailed our forecast. So we predicted last year on this stage 2.2% growth. The actual growth was 2.8% growth. Big industry, good growth, solid growth.
Great. Yeah. Congratulations to you. Great job. Brad, what just happened in this holiday period? We just got out, we've crunched the numbers. What happened?
So, Ian, that's the question I'm getting tonight from everybody really in the audience is how did the holiday do? The reality is the holiday grew at 3%, which is really good. And it really came from emerging categories. So things like stereo headphones, home automation, but also we saw a resurgence of tablets, which was kind of interesting. Now, the first couple weeks of the holiday were actually pretty strong. The next couple of weeks were a little bit weaker, which was interesting. And so as we get to, and the other thing that I wanted to say was that Black Friday was actually a very strong week. Cyber Monday was also a strong week, which means that basically our consumers were okay shopping in multiple channels, which was really good. It really represents that consumers are getting more used to blended retail. That's good.
Great.
Now, in utilizing our checkout tracking data, we can actually look at the e-commerce growth. E-commerce growth was actually at 29%. What's really most interesting about kind of the e-commerce channel and e-commerce growth is that we are watching and seeing as consumers are actually buying up and buying premium-based products. And that's very interesting because it's making the traditional retail.com actually grow more than pureplay.com. Very interesting thing to watch. But really, Ian, that's just the top line. So what I'd like to do is have you can leave.
I'm going to leave.
And we'll get our all-star analysts on board. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to look at 3 key categories. And with each analyst, we're going to look at what happened during the holiday. We're going to look at the second thing is we're going to look at what happened overall in 2018. And then we're going to look at their prediction for 2019. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite our first all-star analyst onto stage. This is a person that's been with NPD 10 years. She's part of our all-star market intelligence team, and she's just doing a fantastic job, especially meeting with many of you, looking at velocity and distribution measures in your offices. So, welcome, Ashley McCann. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Brad.
So, Ashley, I could not go out to retail this year without seeing, frankly, piles and piles of stereo headphones. Did we sell them all?
I sure hope we did because headphones had a great holiday season. Headphone sales over the holidays were up about 30% over what they were last year. And it's a really cool category because it's one of the few where ASPs increased during the holiday period despite all those promotions, as consumers are stepping up to some of those more premium products like Bluetooth on-ear, noise canceling, and true wireless. True wireless headphones actually tripled what they did last year during the holidays.
Very interesting. So overall in 2018, we sat up here last year and we talked about really explosive growth from stereo headphones. Overall in 2018, did we achieve that?
We did. So on this stage last year, and in our Future of Tech report, we forecasted that wireless headphones would hit $4 billion in 2018, and that's exactly what happened. $4 billion in wireless headphones last year. And a lot of that was driven by True Wireless, which made up 45% of the revenue in that wireless headphone space. You can't walk around anywhere without seeing AirPods dangling out of everybody's ears, and I think that really speaks to the recognizability of Apple's product as well as their dominance in that space. So 2019 is going to be a real moment of truth for other manufacturers as you introduce new products, work on gaining more distribution, and try to find points of differentiation to really start cutting into that dominance a little bit.
Very interesting. So I'm sure we have a few headphone manufacturers out here in the audience. What do you think for 2019? Do we continue to have good growth?
I think we should. We're forecasting headphone growth to be in the low teens for next year. And that growth is really going to come from being smart. Wired headphones have been declining for the last couple of years. That's not going to change much. And it still makes up 2/3 of the volume in the category of the units. So, but most of that's under $15. So finding the right channels of distribution, something like the Office and Mash channel, which we know has lower price points, is going to be key for that segment. One of the questions I get a lot from our clients is, what is the dynamic between Bluetooth in-ear and true wireless? And what we're seeing is some of that higher-end Bluetooth in-ear volume moving towards true, while everything else is dropping in price. So that price degradation is going to continue. So I would challenge the sales teams out there to really think about the products you're taking into retailers and making sure they are your best products and they are your fastest turning and they are your hottest colors to make the most out of that space you have on the shelves. And last but not least, Bluetooth on-ear quietly had a really great year last year. Most of the top brands in that space grew, so we expect that momentum to continue into 2019. So there's plenty of opportunities still in headphones for this year.
Great. Thank you so much, Ashley. And Ashley's going to be out mingling with you guys later to answer your toughest questions. Thank you so much. How about a hand for Ashley? So next up, I'd like to bring our senior analyst up. You all know and love him. He's been with NPD 21 years. He has to walk slow because of his introduction. Welcome, Mr. Steve Baker. Welcome.
Thanks, Brad.
So, Steve, we're going to talk about TVs and PCs. How can we not talk
sure.
about TVs and PCs?
I love to talk about PCs and TVs.
Consumer tech event. So, holiday, TVs.
Yeah.
Did people go out and buy those big screens?
Well, they certainly did, especially at the beginning part of the holiday. We really saw very, very strong sales, as we had seen throughout the entire year, really strong sales on bigger and bigger televisions. While Brad mentioned a little while ago, we definitely saw some slowdowns as we got past Cyber Monday and Thanksgiving week, but overall, good holiday. Challenges for 2019, certainly, but what we saw was a real kind of reimagination of what a big screen TV is going to be. We've seen smaller bezels, thinner televisions. We've really worked really hard as an industry to create products at those bigger sizes that consumers feel comfortable putting in their homes. I mean, a 65-inch TV is a big piece of glass in the main room in your house. And as nice as the Patriots look, beating the hell out of every single team they play, it's big, and it takes up a lot of space. But when you demassify it, when you thin it out, what happens is that 65-inch TV kind of fits in a 60-inch TV or a 55-inch TV area, and customers become more comfortable with it. Certainly, no one has ever regretted buying a big TV, and I always tell everyone, buy the biggest TV that you can buy, and then buy the next size up, because you're always going to be happy when you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. That 65-inch TV Plus is a good size. So, Steve, 2018, we see the number over here, 2% growth. Is that what you expected?
Yeah, it was definitely a good year, but again, 2017 was a down year, so the comparisons are really good, better when you look at it against 2016, where we're at kind of a stable environment. Again, the market is changing, products are shifting, and more as we get into 2019, what we're going to see is this focus, this increased focus on bigger and bigger televisions. And we're going to need that because the height of the price declines and the difficulty we do anticipate in pricing is going to be in 2019. And then looking forward, we're a lot more optimistic about some of the new things we're seeing here at CES already to help start to raise some of those average prices back up again.
So it sounds like we covered off on 2019. We're going to get back to about 2% growth for this category. That's the expectation.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great.
Very excited.
Well, let's switch over to PCs.
Okay.
So, last year you talked about, small form factor. We talked about gaming. Certainly those things played out during the holiday, I would think. How did we do this holiday with PCs?
Yeah, PCs were an interesting category. We had some good growth early on from Macs as the new MacBook Airs came into the market. We had an explosion of Chromebooks again this year, 50% increase this year during Black Friday week versus 100% increase the prior year. So we've really seen a huge growth there. We continue to see some struggles around the Windows platform, but as Brad mentioned, gaming sales were up over 20%. Our forecast continues to be that will be one of the products that drives the market.
Good. So as we look at 2019, it looks like we're at about, we're projecting a 4% growth rate. Is that driven by the same things?
Yes, Chromebooks, some increased growth in Macs, and the continued growth in gaming. In fact, if you really look out even a little bit further, by 2020 or 2021, it's likely that the majority of desktop computers sold in the US are going to be gaming and gaming-focused products. And that's just, for those of us who grew up in this business, that's just an enormous change.
So, Steve, let's switch gears a little bit. At the beginning of my section, I talked a little bit about the growth that we hit last year, 2.8%. So next slide here is going to be NPD's forecast for actually 2019 and beyond. So tell us a little bit about what we're seeing overall in the consumer electronics industry.
So we've just finished the forecast, and with our future of tech, we're really excited. This year we've not only done 2019, but we're also looking all the way out into 2021. We expect a little over 2%, 2.3% growth, which is, I think, down a little bit from what you had said earlier. It's always a challenge, right? This is a great big market, $100 billion almost in sales, and relatively mature. And to continue to see growth means that we have to have a combination of things. We have to have some stability in those great big categories like PCs and TVs, which during the holiday make up, about a third of all the revenue. So we have to do well, and we have to see stability in those. But we also need some of the growth in some of those other categories. And the thing I always tell people is you can look at that 2.3% growth and say, oh, that's not all that much, and I would really like to grow a lot more. But that's at the top of the market. When you start to drill in, when you look at your specific categories, your specific products, the features on your specific products, there is growth all across the market. In a big mature market, the opportunities are around segmentation, and we see that happening all around. And gaming, as we've been talking about, is a perfect example of that. People may not be buying desktops anymore, but they're buying gaming desktops.
That's great. So 2.3% growth. We'll see you all back here next year to see how we did. Thank you so much, Steve. And Steve
Thanks
will
a
be
lot, Brad.
also out mingling and looking for your tough questions. So I'd like to welcome Ian Hamilton back on the stage to close us out.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, guys. So big round of applause for Steve and Brad and Ashley. Thank you, guys. All right, so what were my top takeaways from that discussion? Number one is audio. There's a lot of opportunity in audio. Truly wireless headphones are clearly a major growth area in the coming year, but with so many wired headphones transitioning to Bluetooth, there's also opportunity in just regular wireless. Number two is TVs. We're going to see modest growth, about 2% in 2019. The growth is going to come from the 65-inch category and above. Unfortunately, ASPs in that area are about to erode fairly considerably. Finally, Stephen talked about 2.3% growth overall for the consumer tech industry in 2019. And I think that the interesting takeaway there is the pockets of opportunity. There are pockets of opportunity and risk, right? And when he talked about a couple areas, PC gaming being one of them, and another one being smart home, an area that's been growing significantly over the last couple of years, and we expect to continue to grow. All right, so you guys ready for your quiz? All right, even you in the back there chattering, you guys you can play the quiz too, so pay attention. We got one question for one $500 TPC gift card, and we're going to do it right now. We've got two people in the audience with microphones. Raise your hand if you're an NPDer with a microphone that's going to help people to answer the question. Here's the question. What percentage growth will the U.S. consumer technology market grow in 2019?
All right, it looks like we have someone over here. Just give us your name and the company you work for.
Karen Fetzer, Hisense.
All right, and your answer?
2.3%.
We got 2.3%. The answer is 2.3. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. We'll have somebody from up there will come down and give you your gift card. There's a couple other gift cards coming up as well. But I just want to thank you all for coming here tonight. And I wish you a wonderful CES. Please engage us on the show floor for the next hour. We've got our analysts and our leadership across many different industries here to meet with you tonight. So challenge us as to what you think will happen in 2019. And may your 2019 be a game changer. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ian Hamilton.